Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to THPS Podcast episode number 25. Thanks everybody for joining. Hope you're enjoying your Corona stay at home. Living in a really crazy time in the world right now, and hope everybody's staying safe out there, healthy, and everybody's doing well. So, my name is the Dode Man, and I'm certainly stoked to have you along with us for the ride here tonight. Got an awesome guest. I'd like to welcome at this time my co-host, my partner in crime, my good friend, Freddie.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be back. Ready to dive right in with our fantastic guest tonight, Guy2K.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one. We're having Guy's a great guy, having a lot of fun with him. So, getting ready right now. Just a couple of quick hits before we introduce Guy and get into the episode here. First thing, KSK, a good friend, he's on the podcast a while ago, but he released a brand new HD version of the Venice level for Thug Pro this week. That's what you're seeing right here on screen. We'll skate around here in a minute. His description is it's a level from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD ported to one of the good Tony Hawk games. A much more detailed version of the classic Venice level with custom baked lighting and a fully skatable out of bounds area. See if you can make it onto the plane without cheats. Nice to see some great visuals and enhancements to this classic level. You can grab a copy right now. It's available on THPSX.com. Freddie, what are your thoughts so far on this level?
Well, I was watching a bit of KSK's stream last night showing off the level, and I'm really impressed by the out of bounds area that was spoken about. There's really a lot of new terrain that you can trick off of to kind of save your combo.
Awesome. I haven't played it that much. I just downloaded it this afternoon, so just taking just a quick little run through it here, just so you guys can see it on the stream. But yeah, it's awesome. Check it out. Grab a copy, download. Really good stuff. We're excited to have this as something that we can now enjoy in Thug Pro. All right. So rarely. We don't usually like to do this kind of thing, but we don't like to beg for followers on Twitch. We don't look for anybody. We don't hit anybody up and say, hey, smash that like button. We don't say stuff like that like a lot of streamers do. We don't ask for subscriptions on YouTube. But what we're trying to do right now, we're trying to get to the 100 subscriber mark on YouTube right now. And the only reason we want to get there is so we can get an easier to remember URL. They require 100 subscribers on there. We can get a vanity URL. It'll be way easier to remember, way easier to type in so that you guys can watch and enjoy the replays of these broadcasts. That's one of our primary areas. We're getting a lot of people watching the videos, and we appreciate the support. So if you guys could just consider to hit a subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. We don't get any money for reaching that goal. We're not in this for the money to begin with. It's just to make it easier for people to find us. 100% free to subscribe. If everyone watching or listening could do that, we'd greatly appreciate it, and we sure thank you for your support. All right, now that we've got that stuff out of the way, we would like right now to welcome Guy2K to the THPS podcast. If there's one player in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater community who embodies the term consistency, it's Guy2K. For over 15 years, Guy2K has shown what it means to push the envelope. Whether it's scoring 1 billion points, tagging an entire level, landing sick transfers, or collaborating with other players, this avid Boston Bruins fan and creator of the Airborne Addiction video series has done it all with an infectious attitude that makes him fun to play with. Hey, everybody. Please join us in welcoming to the podcast Guy2K.
Yo, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited. Give a shout out to X-Clan and the FTH movement. Can't do it without you, baby. We made it out the hood. Let's go.
Nice, I love it. All right, Guy, thanks for taking the time to do this. We're certainly excited to have you. It's just good stuff. So we're gonna jump right in, man. We got a lot of ground to cover. We got into the weeds big time with this one. This gives us some nuances and some nitty gritty here. I think this is going to be a good episode. I hope everybody enjoys, and glad you're along for the ride. So let's start it out with our general questions, our quick hits here. What, Guy, is your favorite Tony Hawk game and why?
My favorite Tony Hawk game is Tony Hawk's Underground 1, and probably a big reason of that is because that was the first one that I got with online gameplay. But mainly it's because all of the levels, probably my favorite ones are on there. The game mechanics and the physics. I mean, just the fact that you were able to walk and the way that drifting is on that compared to all the other games, it's definitely the most unique one.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely the one I played the most too. So
Awesome.
How many hours do you reckon you played Thug One?
hey, yeah, too much. A lot. Definitely more than I'd say more than all the other ones combined. So definitely was my primary one.
All right, so here's an easy question, I'm sure. Who has been your favorite player?
You know what? I actually had to look into that. My favorite two players from back in the day on PlayStation 2 Online were definitely Electric and Dragon. Alec has always been one of the best players to play THPS. Anybody that's ripped with him knows that. His old mixtapes really pushed the standard on quality content. And I mean, seeing some of the stuff he was doing, especially after butt slaps were a known thing. I mean, it influenced me and how I wanted to play and, have more of a wow factor in my clips. And he really set the standard on having quality clips. Every clip he had back then was really had your jaw drop.
Yeah, nice.
And, yeah, Dragon actually is, we can thank Dragon that I'm probably even here talking to you guys right now. He's the one that found me in West Coast 1 doing double tapping, ripping, going for points. And,
Yeah.
he's doing the double tap dock slides in Moscow. You already know. He convinced me, let's try this different style of play. There's a whole nother lobby of people playing the game this way. And he taught me how to spin my tricks right, how to have good flow. I mean, he was definitely my biggest influence on how I wanted to play the game full speed and try and be unpredictable, and especially how I had a going for points a linear background already. It was cool to have someone like him to see, how can I be unpredictable? And he was a vet. I know there's a lot of other people that can say the same thing I did, but he was like, the guidance that I needed back then.
Nice. Yeah, I think all of us probably had a mentor somewhere along the way. I know I sure did, and I know Freddie has spoken about his as well. So that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, got to have those mentors and those people that kind of guided us along the path and helped us out to learn how to play better and online and everything else. So
So I also took the time, if you guys don't mind,
no,
two players right now, because it's
sure.
definitely different than it was back in 2005. I definitely say my two favorite players right now are Green from the TLT clan and KC and X with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen some of the stuff that Green puts out, and it's just absolute top tier. Every clip could be the last clip of a video, and when I see it, I'm like, how did he just do that? It gives you motivation to still go and do things now in 2020. That this dude, there's a reason he just got first place in that Baltimore 20. So
Yeah, that's
I
funny
mean,
you
he's
talked about
definitely
that. We just watched
yeah.
we watched his Baltimore clip last week in our episode with Magic Summer, and yeah, awesome stuff. Really, really good. Good mix of kind of modern day techniques and so forth, but also still some throwbacks, keeping stuff grounded. Good trick selection. Really, really quality stuff. So yeah, I agree. Green's awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. And I mean, I don't know if you guys seen me and KC collabed on some stuff back in the day. We've been tight since PS2, and both from New England. When I came back to Tony Hawk last year and end of 2008, the whole X Clan helped me out so much, and he really helped me get back into the swing of things. And I mean, a lot of people know him for being notorious for being one of those best cosplayers, the most elite out there, like back in the day and now. But this dude's doing transfers with the best of them. He can win a prov battle with anybody. And I mean, dude, don't sleep on this kid's graffiti game, too. I'm telling you, he can
Nice.
tag. So
Yeah.
there's a reason I had a taunt a few months ago. It's Casey's your favorite player's favorite player.
Somebody posted that in the chat too. That's awesome. I love it. All right, so I think this probably goes without saying. You've already talked about it just briefly, but did you play online much? Over the course of time.
Yeah, first time I started playing online was I got a PlayStation 2, the network adapter, and Tony Hawk Underground 1 for Christmas. So I think that was 2003 because it was the year that Underground 1 came out.
Yeah.
So I had already played Tony Hawk growing up. Um, but that was the first time I even played any games online. So it definitely stood out. One of my favorite games, and wow, I'm interacting with people online. So
Yeah.
I was kind of hooked right from there.
Oh, for sure.
Back in those days, did you have dial-up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody did. Yeah. And if you seen an 8-person room, that was like you got to get in there. That's a big deal because you're only hosting 3.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, back in those days, and even now, what is your favorite game mode?
It was definitely graffiti back in the day. I mean, if we're not just, you know, just playing, doing improv, I'd probably still say graffiti as much as I enjoy the King of the Hill now. But, you know, put that crown on, I'm gonna get going.
Yeah. For sure. My two favorites as well. It's good. What's your favorite level from all games, consoles, everything combined?
You know what? I had to think about this one for a little bit, but I'm really gonna say it's Manhattan. A lot of people say the map's overplayed, which it's true, but you know, there's a reason that it's been being overplayed and abused for 15 years. Like, it's
Right.
probably one of the best maps ever. It was, you know, a great map for everything. If you wanted to improv it, you want still people are finding transfers on it as overplayed as it is. It's one of the best graffiti maps, going for points, King of the Hill. Forget it, capture the flag, you name it, you can play it on this map. And you know, it's definitely overplayed, don't get me wrong, but I think it was the first of its kind back then and probably the best. And I don't think they really ever replicated it afterwards.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. I've played it so many thousands of times for myself. It's tough, but I respect its longevity, and it's definitely a lot of people's favorite for sure. So I don't hate the map. It's just I've played it so many times, but I have all the
Oh
four
yeah.
levels too. So
Yeah.
what's your least favorite online game mode of all the ones that have been in over the course of time? What's something you're just like, nah, that's not my thing.
You know, I don't know that scavenger hunt now, because I mean, I'll play anything. I don't really mind. You know,
Sure.
if you've been in my room, we're playing hang or slap, so stay on your toes.
All right, I love
But
it. I love Slap.
but yeah, I
Slap
don't
is
know
highly
that
underrated.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying too. Scavenger hunt. It's kind of like you should have just played slap or firefight. I don't know. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's just to each their own. Ain't nothing. You know, I'm not gonna judge you if you're in there playing. It's
Yeah.
not to me.
Oh, I took your question, Freddie. I'm sorry. You take mine.
All right, Guy, what has been your favorite THPS video?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you two. My favorite video as far as editing and effects was definitely, I mean, all the THOTVs. If you were around back then when they were coming out, they were just that was the team you wanted to be a part of. I know there's been a couple other people on podcasts that have said that, and like, you know, me too. I wanted to be in that clan. Went for it. The editing was unbelievable. So I had really written down that THOTV. I mean, if you watch that, it starts at an arcade machine, and you know that's like a movie style editing. It
Nice.
really it's really stood out to me. I actually it sparked my interest in post production, and actually went to school for that. That's a whole nother thing. But you know, it was like wow, I'm 14 years old and seeing these Tony Hawk videos, people that like you know like us are making, and that really always stood out to me. That editing Nacho did was unbelievable. But my actual favorite video and that really influenced me as far as like gameplay and going for transfers was TLTV3, which was
Mm.
actually kind of controversial when it first came out because it was right after Butt Slaps came out. And you know, if you watch that video, they're doing stuff different than anything you had seen before. It was kind of like the first big air transfers that weren't wall ride backs or boost plants or kind of abusing things like that. It's KSK, and it's like a dozen clips to start off of skitching cars and just butt slapping into the bank, no drift, and shooting across the water, quarter pipe to quarter pipe. And it was kind of like I remember on TH Live, like some people knocked it and they didn't like it, and it was whatever negative feedback, and I'm kind of there just like, what? Like, what is this? And that really stood out to me. Like, and people like Alec back then really were a big influence because of, like, you know, butt slapping over things. You're just using a ramp in a car. You're not abusing something besides just the three extra ollies. It was kind of, I'm into that big air stuff. So that was really a big turning point, I think, in a lot of people's gameplay, was when that video came out.
Yeah, all the TLT TVs are fantastic. That one's really good too. I remember when it came out as well, and yeah, gosh, that's when you started to go, wow, this gameplay is going somewhere that I don't think anybody ever dreamed it probably would.
And I'll just throw in there quick too, that Andy THPS Shipyard style line, always, dude, come on, forever. That thing was ridiculous. Still, you watch it right now, it's still like, what was the date on this? That was probably one of the first videos I seen, and it always just stood out. Like, incredible.
Yeah, you'll get no arguments from me on that one. It's fantastic. Shout out to Andy THPS.
Seriously,
it's good stuff.
One of what would you say that he's one of the founding fathers on the Mount Rushmore of Tony Hawk?
Oh, without question. And I think most people that we've interviewed have given him a shout out, and we're trying to twist his arm to get him on the podcast. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to pressure him. He's holding out for episode 69. We'll see how it goes here. But yeah, Andy is definitely.
You better start pumping him out then.
Yeah, he's on my Mount Rushmore of THPS for sure.
For sure. So we go back to talking about butt slaps, things that change the game, techniques like that. What was your favorite technique or mechanic?
I mean, back then, probably that. I'd say now, since coming back, the BHRA, I mean, I don't know what year Thug from Fun had found that. I think it was like 2010 or 11 or something, but I wasn't around for that. So me coming back and seeing that, and seeing the things that, I mean, you can do them on flat land and butt slap to something. You can do them off a drop down and do something totally different, or into a wall. You can do them out of hops and the acid drops. You know what I mean? It's like, that kind of blew me away when I came back, and I think it's my favorite thing now, because I mean, it opens up the door to, you know, you can still find new stuff in this game in 2020. It's unbelievable. And I mean, just last year, that Thug again, man, dude's a mad scientist. He found another technique, that type of hop that you can do out of a BHRA. So
yeah,
kind of just shows the things that can keep happening. But yeah, I'd say that's my favorite, because it's just, you can really use it for so many different things.
So for the listeners that may not understand or know what that stands for, what's BHRA stand for?
Bunny hop rever air, right?
Yep, that's it. It was asking one question.
I didn't know I was getting tested on that yet.
I actually didn't know, and somebody in the chat, I had always just heard it I just heard it called that, and I always wondered, what did it stand for? And I don't remember. Somebody shouted out in the chat, and so yep, you got it. So nice job.
Yeah, nice.
All right, so we're gonna
sweating already.
Oh, this is meant to be fun. No pressure at all, man. So
absolutely.
we're gonna get into some more in depth and some specific questions now. But so you talked about it a little bit, and I think we get a sense of it. But yeah, tell us about your first experience playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Maybe not online, but when did you first start playing the series in general, online?
You know what? I actually remember the first time I even seen the game. I had moved up to a different area. My parents had bought a house, whatever. And the neighbor across the street had came over. I was getting into skateboarding in real life. And he's like, brought his PlayStation over. I didn't have one. I had Nintendo 64. And he brought over this demo, and it had this fighting game, Bloody Rage. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was kind of like a Mortal Kombat style game on the demo, right?
Yep.
And it had Tony Hawk's Pro Skating. And from what I remember, it was just a 2-minute run as Tony Hawk in Chicago, which was, what was it called on that? Like Windy City Slam or something like that?
Oh,
It was the It was the first competition on the first Tony Hawk, which is Chicago on
Sounds right.
American Wasteland, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Man, it's been so long since I played Tony Hawk 1. I don't remember
Yes.
the exact. Yeah.
So
Yes.
the demo was nothing, right? The demo was just a 2-minute run with
Okay.
Tony.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was hooked. That was it. Told my parents we got to get this game, like, and whatever. They ended up buying it for me on N64, and yeah, I had Pro Skater 1 through 3 on N64,
Nice.
and it wasn't until, like I said, when I had gotten the PS came out or 4 or something, but I had only had those first 3 at the time, and they were much different on N64 compared to PlayStation 2, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's why we always ask the question like, what's the console? Because there are definitely variations between a lot of the games depending on the console.
Yep, it was Bob Burnquist doing backflips in the warehouse, baby.
Nice.
So what game did you first play online? Was that Thug?
Yeah, it was Underground 1 for sure. I think that was the first online game I played of anything
So that
in
was
general.
PS2 then.
Yup. Yeah, with the big bulky network adapter. It
Yep.
had 2 flathead screws in the back you
Yep.
screw into the back of the thing.
Yep. Oh gosh, it's so funny to think about that now. Now you don't even have to plug anything into your console. You know, it's just
It's unbelievable.
grab and go kind of thing. So how many titles total did you play online? So we went online. Online play existed all the way through Proving Ground, and then even up through. Then you saw it again in HD and Tony Hawk 5. What are all the titles that you played online?
Yeah, that's right. So I played Pro Skater 4, Underground 2, and American Wasteland online, I'd say primarily. I really only played American Wasteland the first 2 or 3 months that it came out, like actively, and then it was kind of like it wasn't really for me, and I went back to Underground primarily. I may have played Pro Skater 3 online through like a land tunnel or whatever those things are, but I wasn't around for that. I definitely played Pro Skater 4 before they shut down the servers, but I had Project 8, but I didn't really like play that too much. I never had Proving Ground, and I had THPS 5 and HD on Xbox One, so I played those a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry.
So what was your opinion of the Robomotor games, Ride, Shred, HD, and 5?
I mean, they definitely weren't great, but I kind of enjoyed it because it was just playing Tony Hawk like years later. You know what I mean? I didn't know about this, so when those came out, it was kind of like, oh, sick! I can play Tony Hawk on Xbox.
Sure.
'Cause I was playing Xbox One with like my real life buddies at the time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't think about, I guess if you wouldn't have known about Thug Pro, which honestly, I don't think I knew about Thug Pro until after HD came out. I was definitely into Thug Pro ahead of 5 being released, but HD not, and I didn't know it was a thing. So that's interesting to hear.
You know what is funny though is that it was THPS 5, right? They had a school remake or something on it. It was that one, right?
It was a mashup. It's School 3 is what they called it. So it was a mashup of
Ex-
like School 2, School 1, and then they like added, I don't remember, huge soccer balls and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So maybe the first month that came out and I was playing it, I actually had the #1 high score on Xbox One playing that.
Nice.
And then, believe it or not, I go back on whatever, a couple days later, I'm like 3rd or 4th. The person that's in #1, dude, it's Airwig from Ass, if
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
remembers him.
Yeah, Airwig's
So
awesome.
I'm messaging him. Like, I don't know if he knows my gamer tag. It's like 10
Sure.
years later. I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? I never heard back from him, but I hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
But it was just funny, years later, no contact with anybody.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, it's there's a lot of us that have played this over the course of time, and I don't think you can go too far without, even if we've never met. We probably know. I mean, there's probably 1 degree of separation in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater community. I mean, if you don't know each other, you definitely know you've got a shared person that you know for sure. I think so. So let's see. So you're currently a member of the EX clan or X clan, as you call it. Has this been your only clan, or were there others over the course of your career?
Yeah, no. My first clan, I was in whatever, like a double tap clan or two when I first got it. Like 2 million, you're in, bro. So,
Right.
but I had made a clan, Smug, a double tap clan. Then I was in TXO clans. I was in XT. I don't know if you guys remember
Yeah,
them.
for sure.
10K was the leader. Yep. So I was in there. I was in Ass. I was in Ecstasy, which was kind of clan I made with actually a lot of old X members and stuff. I was in AIDS when Alec had made that, and then X towards the end of my playing online.
Okay. Wow. So you have quite a bunch of clans that you were in over the course of it.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I actually, yeah, a lot of good people, good times.
Yeah.
So, Smug is what many will remember you as your earliest clan on Thug. Who created Smug? Which players were involved with it, and what was the requirement to join?
Yeah, so I did make Smug. It actually stands for Ski Market Underground, which was a local ski. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The decisions you make when you're 13.
I love
So
it.
that's actually a skate shop where I grew up over there. So I used to get boards there. It was like, oh, I want to make a clan. It'll be like skateboard and like this is the skate shop. So once we started getting good and winning, I didn't really think of the definition of the word smug, and then we had a good. We actually started getting rep. You couldn't change your name now, so that's kind of where that came from. And some members of Smug from back in the day that listeners might know that still play are actually Behemoth from X.
Yeah.
His name was Mecca back in the day. That was
Oh,
before he
interesting.
went to American Wasteland. Yep, he used to rip. Thug from the Fun Clan, like we just talked about earlier, he was actually Smug Lil Thuggo. And it's funny because this dude's name was Lil Thuggo, but I heard he's like 7 feet tall now.
Wow.
It's funny how things happen.
Yeah.
So some other people that were in there that don't play anymore were Thrice, Idolized, Dip that was in the THO clan, Stoner, Boog from HG, Ness, and Derek Fun actually passed away. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So
Rest.
those are a lot of our OGs there.
Wow. Some familiar names in there. Did you have to look all that up, or did you remember from memory?
You know what? I remembered a lot from memory, and
Wow,
then I
that's great.
actually, yeah, I did. I don't know, crazy things you remember.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I actually a few months ago I went on that web archive thing you can look
Yeah.
up like old websites.
Oh
So I
yeah.
found our old Smug website, and it
Perfect.
found like our records, a lot of stuff, and yeah, I seen a list of a lot of names that I didn't remember too. Like I forgot Dip was in it for a little bit. No
Huh.
wonder we knew each other so long.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I use archive.org all the time. I think Freddie does too. It's fun to kind of take that trip down memory lane and look up some of the history of this thing. And that's part of the goal of this podcast is, let's preserve this thing. It's been such a great part of so many people's lives. It's important to remember it, I think. And that's why we're glad to have guests like you, Guy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, man.
So at one point, clans in Pro Skater were used as a means of battling, asserting dominance, who is the best type of mentality. Do you think that still exists in 2020, or do you think most are in clans right now, kind of just to hang out with like-minded people or friends, pay homage to their former groups from when they before the GameSpy servers were when they were still running?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like you just said that people are more just hanging out and more of like a chill, maybe an outlet from, we're all adults now. So I
Yeah.
think there's a lot less like if you want to call it pressure. But you know what? At the same time, like I I'd love to do clan battles. Like I was into that stuff. I'm a competitive person. That's probably why I like King of the Hill now. It gets you going. Like, let's rip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I still tag every now and then. I'm into that. So I mean, if people want a graph battle, like I'm still in. And I know a lot of people in X are ready to rock too. So maybe we can get it sparked up again.
Oh, there you
Little
heard it
clan
here.
rivalries. Yeah.
Some clan rivalries. Let's see some fun versus X or something. Or I see if Ass has started to come back around a little bit here in the last couple of
Yeah.
weeks. I noticed. So
Maybe
there you
that's
go.
what we need. Exactly. We got a lot of talented players in all these clans. So I mean,
For sure.
it's whatever you got. It's whatever people want to do. Really. We're
Love it.
fortunate that we're still doing this in 2020.
No doubt. I agree with that.
Many, many years before Thug Pro became the staple game of the Tony Hawk community, there existed a time where players were spread out across several games on PS2 and PC. So, in your own words, describe what the landscape was of Thug 1 PS2 online around the year 2005.
Yeah, 2005. I mean, you still had like West Coast One lobbies if people weren't around and knew that was like your people double tapping, going for points, glitching, whatever, Game Shark, purple names, huge shoes. That was still going on, like a lot. Tiny skaters,
Yeah.
or somebody comes in and all of a sudden you can't see where you are because the guy's skater's so big.
Yep.
Like, that stuff was still happening. But it was not. It was still. You still had a dozen to 20 lobbies at a time in TXO on Tony Hawk's Underground 1, and I know Underground 2 was definitely just as active, if not more. I was primarily a Underground 1 player, like I said, but there was a lot of people that played both, or a lot of people that just stuck the Underground 2, or even American Wasteland might have had more than both. I wasn't really on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a quick funny story about how the players were mixed up on different games at that time. When I was in XT towards the end of that 2005, we were still like use the smug tag and battle people in the West Coast lobbies, go for points. So one time, I forget what the clan like tag was, but the guys that come in, long story short, we're battling them. We actually beat them, but they were like unbelievably good for West Coast One people. And it actually was the Ass Clan. It was Domination, it was Aqua, it was Airwig, and it was Will. And that's actually how I met all these guys.
Yeah.
And we actually beat them, and they're kind of like, screw you guys, you're doing double taps. Like, come on Underground 2, we'll show you how to rip. And it was kind of that's when I got introduced to Horn on Underground 2, and when I ended up getting into Ass. And yeah, it's just funny that, I was doing improv, like I had said before, playing with all these guys now, and hadn't met any of these people from Underground 2 yet. And they come in disguise trying to, take us out.
It's so interesting. I had forgotten. I remember there was a TXO lobby and West Coast One, East Coast One. Europe, all of it. I didn't. I guess maybe it never dawned on me just because I always hung out with the TXO people that there was some sort of like hierarchy. If you were in West Coast One, you were of this caliber, but if you were in TXO lobby, you were in. That's just funny to hear that. I've never even thought about that before. It sounds like that was like a thing.
It was way more hardcore than you realize, bro.
Wow.
It was like if you came in and did a dark slide in like a TLT room, you were getting banned. Like, not kicked, you weren't coming back, bro. Like, and then you know what though? And like I said, like if people remember me back then, like I was fired up like a youngster. So I was a West Coast One guy learning TXO. So I took it upon myself. So if you had a dot in your name coming in West Coast One, I was banning you.
Oh my gosh.
Tables have turned.
This is wild. This is blowing my mind right now. I didn't even realize it was to this degree.
Oh, no, it was bad. It was real bad.
Oh my gosh. I love it. All right. So where were we? So it looks like somewhere along the line here, and you can fill us in on this a little bit more, but you took a break from Pro Skater in the games. When did you quit playing initially, and then what brought you back? What brought you back around?
Yeah, you know what? I stopped playing actively from what I had like read in old forum stuff. I I put out like my last video in the end of 2008, and it was like I wasn't really playing anymore. I know I was in college at the time, whatever, real life stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, so the last time I had ever played Tony Hawk Online was actually November 2009, because that's where that footage came from 2009 Rewind, which we can touch on later if you'd like.
Sure.
But yeah, I definitely stopped playing end of 2008, early 2009 actively, and kind of played on and off for a few more months. I didn't play for like 10 years.
Wow.
It was like October 2008. No, 2018, excuse me. That Driz, the leader of X, hits me up on Facebook out of nowhere. I'm not even friends with him. And I just
Yeah.
get a private message like, Guy2K, I know it's you. Like, we got a rip. And I'm just, we were tight back in the day. So he's like, it's Driz. And if he
Wow.
didn't say it like how he did, I probably wouldn't even have opened it and been like, oh, it was this creep or something. But I was like, oh, I recognize this name. Oh, like, and yeah, they told me how to install it, and it was a wrap. I'm back.
Yeah.
Wish I knew sooner.
Nice.
So, aside from the dwindling player count, how is the landscape of Thug 1 PS2 different in 08, 09 compared to 05?
It was, I mean, like you said, dwindling player count. There was no West Coast one big shoe glitching name color guys. That was done. There was just two lobbies, maybe three on a good day of, maybe mainly X and some IOU members. Some other names would come on and off, but it really got inactive. That's probably why I stopped playing too. It was just kind of improv rooms. There wasn't enough people. There was no battling. Capture the Flag couldn't be played like it used to. You know what I mean? I wasn't that big into King of the Hill, but I don't think we were really playing that either. So it kind of just really got, died out.
Yeah.
But I guess after I was gone, I mean, well, Fun came around, and I guess they had a website, and I guess it got maybe more active after that. But from what I remember, it was pretty toast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those were the dark days. I've come to term them as those were rough. A lot of people still stuck with it, but yeah, that was tough to play back then for sure. So we're gonna get into some. We're gonna look at a couple of videos here. So I'm gonna switch over to that right now. We're gonna talk about one of your signature tricks in Manhattan, lipping the fire escape balcony. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right. Do I have the right video? So we're watching right now some clips of Guy. Uh, did I miss it, Freddie?
So, the clip that is included with the question is from Carnival, in which he lips the fire escapes there. I couldn't find any footage of him doing it in Manhattan, but the basic gist of it is that where did this trick come from? It's one of those things that sticks out. And were you the first one to come up with this move?
No, so you know what? That's from back in the day, and I mean, if you guys want to show the viewers, we could go to Manhattan. I can do it. It's not that bad. But yeah, so that's actually Tok, TOK3 instead of the E. If people played Underground 1 back in the day, this guy was like the premier Manhattan tagger. And he used to do the lip stalls up there. So I got that from him back in the day. And when I came back on Thug Pro, nobody, like, it was like lost in time. So I did it in a room when I came back, and people were like, what is that? Like, what are you doing? And so I told people where it came from and everything. There's a couple people, like I know Ricta from Fun remembers Tok. A handful of people do that were around. But so now we call it the OG lip stalls.
There's the the actual clip right there. So just kind of bottom quarter pipe to upper quarter pipe. But let's observe Guy here, and he'll do it here for you in 2020.
All right.
All right, you're on, and let's switch to you.
Yeah, so you come in.
All right,
you
go
got
ahead.
it. And you come down.
Oh,
And
that's
then
crazy.
you gotta FS 540 out of it, or don't even waste your time, baby. Let's go.
I love it. So that's
So yeah.
That's a Toke original.
Yeah, shout out to Toke, man. That guy was so ahead of his time. Somebody I'd really like to see play on this game, you know?
nice.
So, Guy2K, you are just part of a handful of players that have ever capped a 4X Tony Hawk 4 style boost plant on PS2. I also know that you're the only player to ever cap a 3X manual boost plant, which requires a buffered 4X. And even though it
I
ran
didn't
just
know that till you told me. Not to interrupt you, but that's pretty sick. Cool.
we got the clip, we got the clips ready for you here, but
Yep.
even though it ran just under 2 minutes, your Tony Hawk 4 boost plant TV consisted mostly of 4X boost plants. How difficult was it to film these, and can you still hit them today on PS2?
All right.
You know what? I hopped on PS2 recently, actually trying to do it after they had like the nerf on this and whatever. And it's definitely much harder on PlayStation 2 than on Thug Pro on the computer because I can still do them. And they seem to be a lot easier. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, I think it's like muscle memory. Maybe if you got the technique down and you can do it. And I don't know. I probably only get like one or two a day though if I'm feeling good. It's not like something you can really do consistently. Probably just the luck of the draw on mashing the button.
So we're watching the clip here of this. That is a monster bounce. So here we are in Tony Hawk 4 engine. Manhattan. This stuff just is incredible to me. I don't even know how anybody figured this out. All right. So, Guy, you had said ahead of our broadcast here that so there was a whole, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. There was a whole kind of in Thug Pro. They had allowed boost plants to happen a certain way for a period of time, and then it was changed, and it became much easier. And either of you correct me if I'm wrong in what I'm saying here, but it became much easier to do this. But then in one of the more recent updates, they nerfed it. They made it a little bit more like it was intended to be in the original game. So you sent me a video clip ahead of this, basically to where you had said, okay, we've got this figured out, and I did this right after it was no longer nerfed. And so let's take a look at that clip real quick. And you did this like a couple weeks after that, according to what you had said. Is that right?
Yeah, they were just clips of playing with the new inputs, which would be how you would do them back on the PS2 controls, which are harder. Okay. And yeah, I mean, I kind of wasn't really even going for them. If you see, they're kind of just an improv runs.
So here we go. This is Guy. This is pretty recent. This is within the last 6 months or so, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. And there's a toggle, so if you watch and you can see the boost plant count, you can see it. It looks like it registered at 5 there, and this is with the more recent thing, so you can kind of see what he's doing there.
Well, the most for the Tony Hawk 4 style boost plant is 4. So maybe you've seen the 5 for the Thug 1 style boost plant with the grab.
Got it.
but all those clips have a 4 times TH4 in there.
So yeah, it looks like it's consistently coming in. So you're on Carnival right now, and getting those fours just consistently. So it looks like there's several clips here of you hitting these.
Yeah, and if you see on those clips like how I'm holding the wall ride a little bit longer, and I feel like that's a big part too. Like you obviously got to mash up an X, but you got to kind of try and mash up more than X and hold on the wall. I mean, it's really all muscle memory, to like
Sure.
break it down. You're really just mashing and hope you're mashing it right.
So I wonder if that begs the question, and this is completely off script right now, but does that beg the question, if you knew how to do these, the people that did them on four, um, do they have an advantage just because it becomes muscle memory?
um, I mean, I don't know if it's an advantage. I mean, I'm glad that the way that they made the toggle now that, say you're using the easier inputs, it's almost like the same height. So at least they kind of got everybody on the same playing field. But I mean, it's kind of, yeah, I don't really know what to say with that because I know I'm one of the few that could do it. I guess I'm just like fortunate.
Sure. All right, help me out here, Freddie. Where are we at on questions? Let's see. Okay, I got it. So, you talked about it a little bit, but did you ever play for points or scoring? You talked about tap, whatever. Did you ever try to get those highest scores and that whole kind of concept?
With a double tap?
No, just in general. Was the game ever for you about points and scoring?
Oh, absolutely. The first few years, I mean, I still even like going for them now, but yeah, for sure. I was a primarily going for points for a while.
Sure.
So, what was your high score in graffiti on Thug PS2? Do you think there's a huge difference between technique between tagging and whoring for points?
It's if you're not battling somebody, then you can really go for the tags more than like say outbasing somebody. And I mean, if you know what I mean by outbasing, like having more of a base score and making sure that person doesn't steal the tags from you.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, if you're just going for tags, yeah, it's going to be a little bit easier because you can kind of just focus on your line. My high score actually with double taps was 227 in Manhattan,
Whew.
and without double taps with the sound on recorded, which I wish I could find the videos. I don't know if somebody has some stuff from TH Live, but I'm looking for old horn videos of me doing points. So let me know if anybody's got some old stuff. But no double taps. I had 212 in Manhattan.
Dang.
So it was
Dang.
yeah, but it was what I played the most.
Yeah. Did you ever double tap when going for records in Trick Attack and Graffiti? It sounds like pretty easy answer here, but there used to be a player named Talk3 who seemed to tag a level for forever, presumably with DT.
That would be Toke.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Toke,
Toke.
sorry.
That's the OG
Okay.
OG lip stall originator.
All
Yeah,
right.
I ripped with Toke a lot. He was a monster. There was definitely talk that he would hide a double blunt stall in his caveman. So I don't know if you guys are observing me, but like if you
Yeah.
ran up and you did like a grind, you know what I mean? Nobody's gonna know if that was a dark slide or something. So people said, I'm not
He'd
saying he
mask it. That's
did.
funny.
Yeah, I'm not saying he did,
Right.
but but regardless, that dude was a monster, one of the best taggers, probably the best Manhattan tagger of all time. He did play Underground 2 a little bit. Not a lot of people know about that. And he was nasty at Berlin too.
Oh
So
wow.
the dude had balance. Don't think, oh, he was double tapping. No, this guy was a beast. So
Talk about your experience playing Tony Hawk 4 online for the first time. Was this before or after you had already played Thug?
I don't remember the the first time I really played Pro Skater 4 online like that. I know I definitely had played it before they shut the servers down because I remember that whole ordeal and going on with the IP address and that. But I really only played it if I was trying to enter a Get There challenge on PH Live forums or trying to transfer or something like that.
Yeah.
I think the whole online experience, I was kind of spoiled with Undergrounds already with the After Zero Observe.
Oh
So for
yeah,
me to
sure.
hop on with some, that for me to hop on with some buddies and play Pro Skater 4 was kind of like, well, I can't even watch you, bro. Like, so just send me what you get. But we did go for points a lot. I would go on with some smug members a lot with Derek and Frice, and we would do the old ship line or the Alcatraz roof line, and we would do 1 billion points. So it was like good practice for us doing that stuff because I mean we weren't around when you guys are doing all that OG like getting that I4 stuff going on. So us doing the shipyard line was like, oh, sick, bro. It's 2006, and we did 1 billion.
Yeah. Gotcha. So were you involved in the capture the flag scene on Thug One PS2, and do you prefer time capture the flag from Thug or non-time capture limit capture the flag from Tony Hawk 4?
I definitely played a lot of capture the flag, and I'm all about the like no time limit after zero, like an actual timed game. I don't know how to say that correctly,
Oh,
but
interesting.
yeah, I don't like that. No time, just get 2 caps. No, school 2, 30-second game. I'll see you after zero, baby. Let's go.
That sounds very familiar. I've played that style many, many times with Andy and Fate, rest in peace. Many,
Yes.
many, many times. That whole kind of style. Airport as well. Airport's a classic for that style of play. Capture the flag.
Oh yeah. You know what I think a thing is too is that being somebody that went for points a lot, I kind of maybe would rely on my balance as an advantage. Whereas some of these better Cothers are definitely good at the no time game. They're
Sure.
gonna get you. You don't need to hold a combo.
Right.
So maybe it was just maybe a little advantage for myself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. Can you imagine playing capture the flag in Manhattan against Toke?
Yeah, no.
So
I've been there. It ain't easy, believe me.
here's a pretty broad question. What would be your definition of true improv?
You know what? True improv to me is really being unpredictable and going against the grain of the map. And by that I mean not being non-linear. Every map has lines pre-built into them. The level developers made this grind air to this grind for a reason. That was how they designed the map for the flow of the map. So
Right.
if you're just going around the map, spinning your tricks right, being linear, I kind of call that style lining. There's nothing against it. But if you're really being unpredictable and if especially now when we're playing a game that we've played a map 100 times, we all have tendencies to hit this area and do something that we like to do, the same thing. So if you're trying to do something different every time you hit the same area, that's improv to me. You're trying to surprise yourself because you're obviously good at the game.
That's well said. So
Oh,
along
thank
those
you.
same
I had to
lines,
really think about that.
improv theory is something that is fascinating to me, and I'm really curious. Some we asked Magic Summer about last week, and I'm going to continue. People that kind of lean towards that style of play. It's interesting to get your guys' takes on this. So along those lines, is it possible for a player in 2020 to achieve a pure and true improv run on a level they have played hundreds, even thousands of times?
I say absolutely. I mean, you see a lot of these videos still coming out today that it's, you have your good, you have your bad, but there's definitely still like, I know these maps just as good as these people do, and they're surprising me.
Mm,
So, what do you call that? I
that's
think it's kind of, yeah, like I said, you got to surprise yourself. Like, if you know you can butt slap off this ledge and it does this, so, if you want to do that for a transfer, that's cool, or just goof around. But if you're making an improv video, we've all seen it 100 times. You got to
sure.
kind of sweeten the pot,
Mm.
spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
In that vein, it seems like tons of people are releasing videos very frequently recently. Do you feel any sort of pressure to release more yourself based on the quantity coming out so that you still get noticed?
I don't feel pressure. It makes me want to put out more videos,
Mm.
but I'm the kind of person that I'd rather put out 2 or 3 videos a year of the best stuff I did all year. I don't want to put out a video every month. Like, yeah, this was cool, but if you put out a 5-minute video every month, imagine what one video in 6 months would have been of just the best clip from all those videos, if you're following.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I try to go for that more. When I first came back to Thug Pro, I was definitely excited and made a handful of videos that, I mean, I'm not to knock them, but I look back on now, or maybe clips I have now, a little selfless plug there. Little stuff I got going on now is much better than the stuff when I first came back. So it's whatever people want to do. Me personally, I'd rather put out a couple videos a year and make sure people are like, wow, that was some cool stuff. That wasn't something you see in an improv run every day.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that just goes right to the next question, and I think the answer is yes. But would it be fair to say that the quality of a video is more important than the quantity?
100%. I'd rather see two. Don't get me wrong. Like, I want to see videos of people make content, and that's not to discourage new players either. Like, us that have been around a while know the deal. We kind of hold the game to an elitist stature, like a higher stature. But
Yeah.
if you're just trying to get out there, like, take the criticism. Put yourself out there and let people know, hey, I'm trying to get better at this. I wasn't around 15 years ago. So there's definitely nothing wrong with putting videos out and getting feedback. But I mean, if you've already been around or you have videos, like don't be impatient, wait and make something that you're gonna want to watch back and be like, wow, I killed it.
Yeah.
You yourself have multiple videos that you have been in and or produced. Which one is your favorite that you have been a part of, and why?
I'm gonna say the no excuses team video we just made. I mean, I couldn't be more soup for our team and how it came out, and that kind of goes to what we were just talking about. We put out a couple videos in the past year, maybe, of like, it was good stuff, but we definitely took our time. Like, we thought about this video and worked on it for probably like more than 4 or 5 months. So I mean, you get the time you put in, and our whole team put a great effort in, and I'm pumped to be a part of it. It's definitely like when we talked about the THO stuff when we were kids, like, I'm pumped as a grown adult to make something like that now. So it was sick.
I've
So
got
that's
that
definitely
going
my
up
favorite
on
by far.
I've got that going up on the video right now. So, and I watched it as well, and it's insane, and I love the production.
Thank you.
I love videos that aren't just play style. I like the ones that are thought through and like really have interesting angles and have good production value and whatever. And this one is out of the park with that stuff. It's just really, really good.
I appreciate that, man. We couldn't have did it without the whole team. We talked about stuff and took our time, and it was nice to have an effort from everybody. You can't, one person can't do it. It's a team effort.
Yeah, that's cool. So who are some players that have inspired or influenced you over the years that don't play anymore or very little, and which players continue to inspire you that are still active today?
Players that inspired me back in the day, I definitely say Dragon and Elect, like I had mentioned before. Maybe underrated players from back in the day would probably Thrice and Sicko from SN. I don't know if you guys remember him, but those are two players that didn't really have any videos and maybe didn't get enough recognition of how good they were.
Mm.
But I mean, one of the guys was in Sicko was incredible at King of the Hill and Improv, and Thrice was kind of one of those guys that could do everything, like a brass box nobody knew about. He had awesome transfers, could do the best improv. Like this dude did King of the Hill. It was, one of those all around players. And it's unfortunate to look back now and not see any content that people can see of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, just you mentioning that just now, I actually remember Price playing King of the Hill back then.
Yeah, which is funny because I was tight with him and I never played King of the Hill. And it was kind of like all of a sudden it was like, dude, like, how are you ripping with, yeah, like the SN guys and like Poet EX and Dragon? It's like, bro, like, I'm not going in that room.
Yeah. Oh gosh, how many rooms did I wander into and be like, oh man, this is gonna be. I don't know though. I always like to play with guys that are better than me because I felt like that helped me to improve, and I've never improved that much, but
From watching your videos, it seems that you have no concerns or issues with using text in your gameplay, boost plants, neuroplants, BHRA, etc. Do you feel like that is just how the game is played now, or do you feel like it diminishes the gameplay at all?
Nah, I mean, I think it's just how the game is now. Like, it's 2020 where it's all these things are discovered. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want to have a no tech tournament or something like that, like by all means, that's awesome. Or turn the techs off in a room. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like that's not welcome anymore. But I feel like to frown upon using techs and improv and stuff is kind of like, I don't know, you can do it too. As long as everybody's on the same playing field, it's kind of like, why not at this point? Or how many times unless you just, I don't know. Everybody's got an opinion.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so some people along those same lines, some people would say that techs are way too overused in 2020 THPS gameplay, and the game doesn't even look or play like perhaps it was intended to. Do you agree with that or disagree, and why?
I mean, I agree with it, but as far as how the game was supposed to be viewed, I mean, what's improv then, None of
Yeah.
this was how the game was supposed to be viewed. So it's kind of, I think it is what it is. There's definitely like an abuse to text, like that goes back to being the unpredictable. Like you don't want to see somebody BHRAing all over the map or just boost planting everywhere. That's not improv. But if you're utilizing the text to, like using the tool set that you got,
Sure.
so what do you want in your toolbox?
Yeah, I've just heard from a lot of people over the course of time. They get online now. They haven't played Thug Pro. They get on Thug Pro. They join some random lobby online, and they just see people. As I've heard it said, they're just flying all over the map, and they don't get it or understand. You know what I mean? And so they're like, "This is crazy." And so so you just see people ridiculous. Whatever boost plant to oblivion, just flying everywhere, and I could see how that could be confusing, but for the tight knit community that we are, yeah, I see your point for sure.
That could have been a quote of me coming back on Thug Pro though.
Oh, I
What you
bet.
just said.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
people are flying in. People said I came out of a 2009 time capsule. I'm just like, how are these people boost planning and combo? Like this is crazy.
Yeah,
And then you know what though? Like I didn't like it at first, but I think it was more of I didn't know what was going on.
sure.
Like I had no idea what a hop was. Now it's one of my favorite things, and
Right.
people don't like it. As long as you're giving it a chance and having an open mind with stuff, everybody has a right to an opinion. But,
Right.
it's
Yeah, that's well said.
definitely I was kind of nervous with this. I was overwhelmed when I first came back. Like, what are all these things people are doing? I just want to spin my tricks right and keep a combo.
Right. Yeah, that's really well said.
Thank you.
Not that long ago, there was quite a big discussion among the Thug Pro community surrounding the way the text had been changed in the patch. Many thought the change brought the gameplay back to how it was in the original titles, while others felt that it limited their ability to play the game the way they had become accustomed to in the later years. What was your take on all of this, and can you talk about how you feel is best for the game to be played in modern times?
Um, I personally like the harder controls. I mean, obviously, because I'm pretty good at doing the TH4 boost plants, like so I don't mind that harder change. I'm glad with the last update, like I said before, that they kind of made it an even playing field. If you're using the easier inputs, you're gonna get the same amount of air as if you weren't. Like I'm all for that. So as long as people, however people want to play, I think it's kind of at that point in the game too where those techs aren't allowed if you're going for points, and there's no competition nowadays anyways. So it's kind of
Right.
comes down to what your personal preference is and what you like.
Yeah, that seems like a sentiment is I've seen that spoken quite often. Is just let people play the game how they want to play it. Just because of, like you said, there isn't a lot of competition now, and so why not? Um,
My only grief when they had made the easier inputs was that I'm still doing the harder inputs, but I'm gonna get no recognition for this four times.
mm,
If pro skater A over here can do a four times with no effort and get just as much as air as me, it's kind of like, what's the point of me doing this? Like my transfer is literally not going to be cool because there's an easy mode to it, which it was. Besides that, I'm glad they fixed that, like I said, because that was kind of discouraging at first. Like, I don't want to play with the easier control, but I'm somebody that likes to do transfers and put out content. So I want my stuff to be impressive too. And if that's overlooked, it's kind of you're wasting your time.
yeah, that's a really good take. So in 2020, one of your primary game bleh, I can't talk. In 2020, one of your primary gameplay styles seems to be improv. Talk about your approach to this style of play.
Yeah, you know what? Lately, I don't know if I'd say it's my primary. I mean, I definitely do it all the time. Kind of been going for transfers a lot and playing some King of the Hill, but kind of just if I'm not just playing in the lobby, like going with the flow, like you know what I mean, like talking to you guys right now, I'm kind of just goofing around. But if
Sure.
I'm actually going for improv, like to do a good improv run with people, I'm gonna try and be unpredictable and surprise them and push the limits and not be afraid to bail. And I'd like to also say too that doesn't mean that like you can't do a hop or something and be like, oh, that was planned. Like, no, if you just come across the map and last second hit something with like no time, there's a difference between setting up for something planned and kind of just going for it. And you're either gonna bail or you're gonna land.
Right.
So I mean, I like seeing that stuff, and I like going for that stuff, being risky and surprising people.
Mm.
So, in that vein, a testament to your versatility as a THPS player is your more recent interest in playing King of the Hill. Did you take any interest in playing King of the Hill before Thug Pro? And do you think there is a certain level of overlap between improv and King of the Hill that makes it easier for an improv player to transition to King of the Hill, such as level knowledge or unpredictability?
I didn't really play King of the Hill back in the day, probably because I was on the dial up too for a while.
Yeah,
So I mean,
that's rough.
yeah, good luck. Yeah, so I was never really into it. I wasn't that good at it. When I came back, a lot of my clanmates are good at it. Driz and KC, they kind of showed me the ropes and caught for dummies. And yeah, I like it. And you know what it is too is that like we were talking about earlier, there's not a lot of competition based gameplay anymore. So that I'm into that. So to have that competition, even if it's just getting the crown for 2 minutes before you do, that gets me going, bro. If you hear me in voice chat, I'm yelling. Like, stay out of the way. And anybody that's listening that's played, they know. Like, I'll open the bridge on you here if I can.
That's I'm of the same mind. I feel like, with the way the game's played, with no matter what the text, no matter, whatever is going on, I still feel like one of the more competitive aspects of it that feels true, I guess, is King of the Hill. And that's, I think, why I like it so much. Because it feels like I don't care what you can do or whatever, King of the Hill, like, really resets a lot of people's expectations. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And you know what's funny, real quick, since you said that, I know we had faced each other in that King of the Hill tournament
Right.
last year. So I was pretty new. I was pretty new coming back then too, right? So
Okay.
I'm nervous. I don't know you. I'm like, yo, Casey, who's this dude, man? TXO. He's from TXO. He's gonna be a beast. So like for the few days before that, I had Casey training me, bro. We were like Rocky at King of the Hill, and I tried so hard against you that day. I was so nervous. I was just like, this is my first tournament back. I can't get shown up. Like,
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit when we were watching the semis or something. It was me and Crad in the chat, and we had some good laughs about that. Yeah, I've played
good
for
stuff.
many, many, many years on King of the Hill, but I don't know. We've been doing Friday night King of the Hills with a bunch of the people from THPSX, and I think I've improved, which is remarkable for me in 2020 to feel like I'm improving. But I don't know. We're having a lot of fun with it, and it's good. So,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's like riding a bike too. You ripped, so
oh
get it right
gosh,
back.
yeah, you got me though. It's good. So, who, in your opinion, are some of the most underrated Tony Hawk's Pro Skater players, past, present, whatever you think? And you talked about it a little bit, but maybe there's some people that are off the radar that you feel like, hey, check this person out. They may not have a lot of content or videos, but they're incredible.
Yeah, you know what? There's one player that kind of sticks out to me right now lately. I don't know if you've seen this dude Puke, but this guy rips, man. He just put out another video as a pro skater, and it's like, it's just like we were talking about, unpredictable. The dude's good at King of the Hill too, so yeah. Shout out to this Puke kid, man. Keep it up, because I know you ripped back in the day, but yeah, people need to start talking about this guy more.
Nice.
I'd like to see more content from him.
So we talked about EX's recent team video, No Excuses, which was a big success, I would say. It's the latest in a string of great team videos released within the last year from teams like Fun and SMG. The elaborate editing was a throwback to the TLTVs and THOTVs of yesteryear. So, which team video, past or present, sticks out as your favorite?
When I talked about the TLTV3 and the THOs at the start of the podcast, but I'd like to say, like, recently, probably the one that stands out is the first SMG video. When I had came back, I know from what I've been told too that there weren't many transfer videos, or if any, in those few years prior. They came out with a video and were the first ones that recently felt like a THO or a TLTV video from back in the day. And I know I can only speak for myself, but I seen what SMG did with that first video and was kind of like, boys, like, we gotta make a team video. Like, this is sick. Why aren't we funding this? And yeah, so I mean, I know other people feel the same way. So I think that definitely was maybe the most influential lately, at least since I've been back, really lit the fire under a lot of us that you can still make videos like this.
Hmm. I got to check that one out. I don't think I've seen that one. So we're watching a little bit of the No Excuses video here on visual. For those of you who weren't aware, I just kept it playing. It's it's a meaty video. There's a lot to it, and it's not short, which is awesome, especially for the quality of content in it. So, all right, final question from Freddie and I. So your Guy 2K 2009 Rewind series is a raw look at what it was like to hop on Thug 1 PS2 and play for a while. Being filmed on a VHS adds a unique feeling. Having capped your own footage before, why did you choose to film these clips this way?
Yeah, so you know what happened was I always used to record to VHS so I could play live while I'm playing, and I didn't have a computer capable of playing right through the computer through the capture card, whatever that thing was called, the Dazzle. You remember that thing?
Mm-hmm. I had one.
So my way of yeah, so my way of recording would to go to the VHS and then re-record it over to the computer with the capture card afterwards. And nobody ever really knew that. The quality would come out awesome because now I'm only compressing once, capturing it, instead of playing and capturing, compressing, and then making a video. So it
Yeah.
actually used to work to my benefit back then. But the reason this 2009 Rewind was like that was actually that VHS tape was the VHS tape that I used to record what I was just talking about.
Right.
And that's the last day that I was recording. I found that tape last year in storage. I was just going through stuff. Yeah, so I don't have a capture card anymore.
Wow.
I ended up recording it with my video camera on a tripod. It was the only way I could really convert it, you know? And yeah, that's why I know that was the last time I played, because if I played PS2 online, I hit the record button on that VHS because it was like a 3-hour VHS tape. You're not gonna pick and choose when you're. I was very fortunate back then that I could just record, you know, like you can now. So that was definitely the last time I ever played too, and it was November, like the week before Thanksgiving, because there's chat in there and people are talking about what they're gonna be eating, and it was actually a real cool flashback to yeah. I over like a week's time I went through that 3 hours of footage and
Wow.
was able to find all that content that maybe I would have never put out. Maybe it wasn't good enough back then, but it
Sure.
was cool to make a video a decade later, you know, that this was
Love it.
definitely the last few days I played.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to switch gears. We got some questions from Discord first, and then we're going to go to Twitch chat. But we got a few that were in the Discord there. So first of all, there's this concept, and B Goat Biz asks about this. He says there's no mention of shower beer. Let's talk about shower beer a little bit there.
Well, listen, have you guys ever had a shower beer?
I still haven't, and you keep telling me I got to
Hey.
do it.
Well, this is it. Then we can talk about it once you know.
Okay,
You have
okay.
a long day, rough, whatever. You come home, you're cleaning up nice, getting ready for the night. Have yourself a little shower beer. Come on, you worked hard for it, baby.
I love it. I love it.
Does it stay cold in the shower?
Absolutely. Well, you can't have it in. You got to keep it to the side. You can't have it directly in the water. You're just hurting yourself.
Right, right.
We have another question from Discord from a live fun. What's your opinion about the Montreal Canadiens?
Oh, you guys know I'm from New England.
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah, I know we got a few Montreal fans listening right now, and I just want to let them know the FTH movement's the strongest it's ever been, and we're never scared. All right, so you can bring it anytime you want, baby. FTH Nation, Bruins, don't poke the bear.
Poke the bear. I love it. Oh, good. All right. This is from Idiot. He says, when's there going to be a THPS New England meetup? There's a few of you up there.
Whoa. Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. I mean, I'm open to it. I've actually went fishing with KC a couple times last
Oh,
year.
nice.
So
Yeah, that's
that's
great.
it. If you're cool and you're not a creep, you can come on the boat and catch some fish. So that's it.
Yeah, there's always a conversation that happens when we talk about this stuff. And have you ever met anybody that you know from Tony Hawk world? I've actually been pretty surprised. A lot of folks have met each other and hung out and whatever else. So that's cool that you'd be open to it.
Yeah, definitely.
We have a question from Drez. What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
You know what? I do mostly freshwater fishing, so we'll stick to that. But yeah, I caught a 5.5 pound largemouth last year,
Ooh,
which in New England, yeah, I mean that's a big fish. But I
that
know
is a
some
big
southern
fish.
states, yeah, our state record over here is only 11 pounds, so that's a good one for us, you know.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I call a real swamp donkey.
So another one from Drez. He says, "What other games do you play besides THPS?"
Yeah, you know what? Lately, I'm kind of just playing Tony Hawk, and I'm playing a little WoW Classic with some Tony homies too. So
Nice.
shout out to them. Yeah. Besides that, I mean, I was playing some PUBG with some buddies. I used to do some Call of Duty, but lately you get older. I just got time for the Tony homies. That's it.
We have a final question from Discord from Thug Fun. Did anyone ever stand a chance against Smug?
There was, you know what? We stole everybody's best player too, you know. So it was I'm not gonna lie, it was like we definitely had a lot of scares, but we definitely recruited people that we knew were like a threat. So one rest in peace, Derek Fun. He was a ripper. He was in Bigo back in the day. But honestly, me and Price didn't really like him for whatever reason. Your kids, and we didn't want him to join. He comes in one day with a random name, and he does 2 billion in Moscow first try. I swear, I'll never
Wow.
forget it. And we're both like, "Yo, we gotta recruit this guy before he's a threat." Like, get like, all right, you can tag up, man. We gave him like the top rank. He comes back in. His name was Panic at the time. It wasn't Derek yet. And
Right.
it's Smug Panic, and he's like, "It's me, bitches." And we were just like, "Son of a bitch!" Like, all right, you're in, bro. So it's like just kind of goes to show how it was back then. It was we definitely had some scares and we had a great record. But yeah, no, if you were a threat, we'd bring you in. We were
Wow.
open arms. But yeah,
Best
rest
way
in
to
peace, man.
eliminate the
That kid was
threat. Just
unbelievable.
yeah, that's so funny. Best way to eliminate the threat is just if you can't beat him, join him, kind of thing, huh?
Yeah, 100%.
I love it. All right, we're going to take some questions here from Twitch chat. So the first question, I don't know if it's a question or it's a statement, but this is from our boy Krat or Dave Goes Deep. He says, "Where's Frice?"
Yeah, you know what? I was in touch with him over Facebook because I mean, if people knew us back in the day, that was one of like my closest homies, and he was doing well, everything. Long story short, and it was like 2 months before Driz found me on Facebook and hit me up that Frice deleted his Facebook. Who knows whatever's
Oh,
going on? So I haven't been in contact with him since. Yeah,
Oh
didn't have his
man.
number or anything. It's just terrible, untimely because he wanted to play Pro Skater 5 on Xbox at the time. Like, oh, we got to play Tony Hawk together. How can we do that? So if I could get in touch with this kid, he would rip Thug Pro. So let's get the hashtag bring back Condoleezza Frice. Let's go. Get it out
Condoleezza
there. We're going
Frice.
viral, baby.
Yeah, we got a few people. We've got Freddie and I have a list of people that we're kind of headhunting for the podcast. Some old players, and man, it gets tough to track them down because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I know I found somebody on Facebook. They haven't posted since like 2015. They got a fiance. When do you cross the line into like stalker status? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah, so there's definitely some people that are a challenge to get a hold of. So we'll add Frice to the list there.
Hey, you guys are doing a great job too. So thanks for all of this.
Oh gosh, we
I
appreciate
mean,
it.
just the Magic Summer one last week. I mean, I never played with the guy. I never knew him, but obviously from the videos, he was the premier player. Everybody looked up to that guy. So I mean, even me as a grown adult, seeing him join the NFA Discord the other day, I was like, ooh, yeah, I hope he plays. Like, keep him coming, boys. Bring them all back.
Yeah, he did get it installed. I haven't seen him online yet, but he got it installed. There's rumor of a I-1 rematch between Andy and Magic Summer. We'll see. We'll see if we can make that happen. So
Yeah, wow. That'd be fire.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, thank you to you guys, and thank you to people like Seawalker for THPS videos and stuff like that. Like all of you guys that are working together to archive what we've been doing over the past 2 decades is like,
Oh
well, we're
gosh.
lucky for all this that we can look back on it. So
Yeah, I always say, if we would have had the technology that we have today back in the day, man, whole different world. So yeah, shout out to Seawalk for sure, and thanks for your kind words, Guy. We really appreciate it. Shout out to Mr. Freeze, of course, for starting us
yes,
up. So
absolutely.
So we have a few more questions from the stream chat. Just real quick, Shake Will 55 says, "What do you think about the Montreal Canadiens?"
Ah, yeah, you know what? Because he's a fan. He's a big, big fan. I know that guy, and he's not tremendous. Yeah, no, you already know how I feel. They were
yeah.
social distancing all year already at the bottom of the standings. So,
All right. As if you couldn't tell, for those listening on voice here on the replays, we got a big hockey fan here. So Bruins. We won't ask him about his opinion about the Habs. So anyway, next question is from
FTH movement always and forever.
what's this is from if I get this wrong, I'm sorry, but it's Timon. I'm gonna say is what's your thoughts on Baltimore? Custom level by Loraxian that just came out a couple weeks ago.
I love it. I think he did a great job with it. I think, I mean, I have no place to like give an opinion on the devs and stuff, but I think that they definitely need to put some of these maps that were like real Tony Hawk maps maybe in their own category so people play them more. Because it is a shame that a map like this is on a list with 50 other ones with a gray name. I feel like that it's awesome. I mean, I've been transfer hunting on it pretty consistently lately.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the best imported maps that I've played yet by far.
Yeah, it's solid for sure, and hundreds of hours that he put into it. What an effort, and yeah,
Yeah, hope he knows how much it's appreciated too. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I know a lot of other people feel the same way. So, does incredible work.
Nevada asks if you could bring back any one player from your Tony Hawk heyday, who would it be?
Oh, dude, I'd bring back Frice. Let's go. You guys don't even know. You think I'm rowdy now? Get going.
I love it.
Absolutely.
That's great. Let's see. This is from Andy THPS. He says, "Why is Thug 1 your favorite title and not Thug 2 or any other later ones?"
I I like the levels the most. I'd probably say the drift mechanic. I mean, I keep going back to it on my feeling for it. Like Butt Slap was the same way in Underground 1 to American Wasteland. The flow is kind of similar to how Pro Skater 4 was. A lot of people like that more, but I think it's just the get off your boards, how you can drift wall plant. Yeah, it was just the one that really stood out to me. I think it really opened up a whole new way to play the game once you could get off your board. I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, he knows he's the one that showed us the wall shuffle in the demo, remember? I mean, I
Yeah.
remember seeing that and kind of being like, yo, this dude got off his board. Like, what? Like, I was already familiar with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So it was, yeah, it kind of just hit a whole nother level at Underground, I feel like. And I definitely stuck to it.
Nevada, he's asking about, can you speak to the complex smug hierarchy / ranking system Thug One days?
Yeah, I actually found it on the old website. We had ranks, and at one time it was like you had to get 200 million and 100 tags and a map besides Moscow or Manhattan. And then that would be the lowest rank. And the highest was like 1 billion. So you had like your FD, CBA ranks and then like explanation mark for how many points you could get. And then eventually, yeah, shit was deep, man. So then towards the end, I mean, it definitely got like invitation, pick and choose, but it was, yeah, we wanted to see 1 billion points with double taps if you were going to get in. That was like the standard at that point.
Wow.
which isn't as I know people hear it and it's like, oh, you reset your balance. It's harder than it sounds. I mean, it's your double taps did run out. Like if you were to grind the same object 20, 30 times, it wasn't going to reset your balance eventually. So you needed to have, maybe two lines for the map, cover this half of the map for the first bit and then go do the other half. So there was strategy to it. It was
Sure.
if you did it back then, it was a little, you know what I mean? Not everybody was doing a billion. Like I know a lot of people talk about it like it was, oh, everybody was doing a billion in Moscow. Like, no, you weren't, or you would have been in smug, bro.
I think there's this moniker that the point scoring got so high that like everybody was doing these ridiculous negative scores and all this other stuff. But I don't know. The more that I've thought about it over the years, I just wonder if that was overblown and there wasn't as many people doing it as maybe we might think.
We used to have this thing in smug where we would go to Moscow and we would all get on the same team and we would set the score. I'm sure you know how the score goes to negative.
Right.
And then we would do what's called positive. It was a handful of us that could make the score go negative on our own. I, for myself, had put the score to positive with over 4 billion points one time in my
Wow.
Tony Hawk career. But
Wow.
no, it was mainly me, Frice, and Derek. We would send the score to positive, just us three, 2 billion apiece. And it wasn't something we did all the time, but it was something that we could do and we would do that night. Might take an hour or two. He might land 2 bill and you might fall right away, but it was yeah, we used to do that stuff. And that's another thing. Like I know I recorded it and I don't have it, which kind of sucks
Hmm.
because it's not stuff you can look up.
Yeah, definitely. That's crazy. This is probably a little inside joke or a little yuck yuck towards you, but Godlike says Shrek asks, "What is Guy doing in his swamp?"
Oh, catching them swamp donkeys, bro. Right? That's gonna be my answer.
There you go.
Absolutely, catching them big old pond piggies.
I love it.
We have Mark asking, what is your thought about the 2019 Stanley Cup loss?
Just saying, maybe he should be fortunate that it's not going on because he was gonna have to watch my boys for the next 2 months.
I love the hockey ribs
FTH
coming
Nation,
in.
baby.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
I'm gonna
Prevzy,
get I'm gonna get FTH tatted across my chest like Tupac. Let him know, Mark.
I love it. Prevzy says you have a lot of notable Thug One TW/WH scores. Do you have any Thug 2 or slash Thug Pro ones you're really proud of?
What was the end of that? Thug 2 or what?
Yeah,
Thug Pro
Thug
ones?
2 or Thug Pro. Yeah.
Um, Thug 2, I did Bill New Orleans, which I was one of like the second or third people back then. I know Aqua had did it first and Evo had tapped it first. But I definitely beat a lot of people out on that, which I was really proud of because, I was known as the double tapper coming in to going for points over there. Now I've been trying for a bit to land my old Manhattan graffiti line on Thug Pro. I'm trying to land it more like a style line and spin all my tricks right. Have the OG lip stalls in there, full
Nice.
full works.
Yeah.
I've done 168 so far, but I'd like to get more than 180 just because I know what I'm capable of. And you see people like Rev and Previ nowadays, like the stuff they're doing. It's kind of like I want to push the standard for myself. But yeah, I did 984 million in KC's What Dude 3 Park. I was trying to do a billion for that, and then that homeboy Jamie came in and did a billion right in front of me in 10 minutes and kind of took the wind out of my sails, so I stopped doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, so shout out to Jamie, man. That dude rips too. Whew. I was in there sweating working on that.
And final question from chat. Skate Ace is wondering when we were going to have group shower beers.
I don't know. You guys can. I'm a solo shower kind of guy. unless it's unless it's my girl. So
There you go. There you
we're
go.
not that close.
I love it. All right. Well, on that funny little note there, we're going to go ahead and wrap her up here today or tonight with Guy2K. Guy, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been a blast. I've had a good time hanging out with you and chatting with you. I didn't know too much about you. Like you said, we matched up last year in that Koth tournament, and so it's been fun getting to know you better here through this process. So thank you for your time, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, I had a blast. So it was awesome. Appreciate what you guys are doing.
You bet. Freddie, any closing thoughts from you for Guy?
Um, Guy2K has just been one of those guys that's, kind of always brought the mood up whenever you're playing online. So just keep being you, and we appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. You got to have fun. So life's what you make out of it. Don't forget that.
Yeah, 100%. That's well said. All right, Guy, we're gonna just introduce our next guest here. You're welcome to hang on the chat if you want, or if you want to jump off, that's fine too. No, it's getting later over there for you, but yeah,
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll listen up. Thanks, guys.
cool, absolutely. All right, so coming up, who do we got going on next? So next on Saturday, April 25th, which is going to be in 2 Saturdays from tonight, we are stoked to welcome to the podcast Mr. Freeze. We're going to turn the tables on our former host, and it's going to be our turn to hit him with those hard questions. So looking forward to Mr. Freeze. Freddie, talk about Mr. Freeze for us.
Mr. Freeze, what can I say? He's done it all. He's one of the greatest creative minds that's ever played Tony Hawk 4, in my opinion. Obviously, my Tony Hawk 4 EVA video partner. Um, he started this whole thing, and it's turned into something really great. So uh, he's been gracious enough to offer his time to us for us to turn the tables, and I'm really excited to go in depth on his history this time.
Absolutely. Looking forward to having Mr. Freeze on the podcast. And I sat on the other side of the table from him. So has Freddie. So we're gonna look forward to we're gonna look forward to hearing some of his stories and some of his thoughts. So. All right, cool. All right, with that, we're going to get ready here to wrap this up here tonight. Thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your support and all great questions, great interactivity on Twitch tonight. We really appreciate you guys. Appreciate Guy. So thank you again. We'll talk to you guys from Mr. Freeze coming up here shortly.